So today we're talking about how we deal with difficult situations, and it makes me think when Caleb and I were flying to South Dakota, we went through Minneapolis, and our plane at one point was parked behind another one on a taxiway, and the pilot came on and said that that plane had to wait because there were first responders coming to detain an unruly passenger. I thought, how many videos and stories about that have we read where people, they get pressured in these situations where you got hundreds and thousands of people crammed into tiny spaces and nothing goes according to schedule and people erupt. And it makes me think of Stephen and how amazing it is that here in Acts 7, he's preaching to the people. It's not going well. They're gnashing their teeth at him, and eventually they drag him out of the city and they stone him to death. And in his final moments, what does he do? He prays for them. In a duplication of what we see of Jesus on the cross when he says, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. And it's incredible that the grace that exudes out of these people in these pressure-packed and these terrible situations. And the only way that happens is that for Stephen, is that he is so deeply tied to Jesus Christ that he has his heart and his mind are guarded, as Paul says in Philippians, by Jesus Christ. He's not anxious about anything because his prayer life is so deeply rooted him in the gospel and in his trust in God, and he's so deeply convinced that it is true that he doesn't have to be anxious. So how do we get that? How do we anchor ourselves? And it's not if we just wait until the circumstances require it, but we have to do it beforehand, that every day we have to seek God in prayer. We have to open up the scriptures. We have to be in prayer for our enemies, for our country, for our church. And if we do that every day repetitively, we anchor ourselves in the gospel so that in those pressure-packed situations, what we speak, it overflows out of the heart. And it's a heart that is not anxious, but is rooted in grace and trusts completely in the sovereignty of God.